Hello. In this video, I'll solve the tax problem, income tax problem. So here is the question. Use the 2020 tax information below to answer the following question. Here we use 2020 tax rate here. This is the marginal tax rate here. And that's the filing status, single, and married filing jointly in this column here. So in this row you can see the standard deduction for single and married filed jointly in 2020. Okay, so here is the question. The Taurus are married couple with 3 children who are filing jointly. In other words, we're using this column here, the last column in this table, because they are filing jointly with 3 children. Notice that there are 3 children called 3 dependent. They have a combined gross income of 159,000. That's her gross income. Remember that it's the gross income, is total income. They also have the following adjustment and the deduction. Adjustment is 2,900 as adjustment into health saving account, and they have a deduction is property taxes deduction 7,750, mortgage interest is 9,500, 3,000 charitable contribution. That's the itemized deduction. Okay, but again, notice that they have a standard deduction of $24,800 because they are filing jointly. So and also they are entitled to $2,000 tax credit per child. So they will get tax credit altogether $6,000 because they have 3 children. So first question is find the Taurus adjusted gross income. So round your answer to the nearest cent. So first find the adjusted gross income. Again, the formula for adjusted gross income is going to be gross income, that's the 159,000 minus adjustment, which is 2,900. So let's see how much is going to be. 159,000 minus 2,900. That's the adjusted gross income, which is going to be 156,100. That's adjusted gross income. Next question, will the Taurus use the standard deduction or itemized deduction? Notice that standard deduction is 24,800. The itemized deduction is, there is 3 itemized deduction, but the total here 7,750, 9,500 and 3,000. When you add these 3 numbers, that is equals to 20,250, which is smaller than 24,800. So they use only one deduction, which is higher. So they use higher deduction, which is itemized. They use 24,800. So next question is, will the Taurus use standard deduction or itemized deduction? Answer is they use itemized standard deduction. That's the answer. Okay. Next question, find the Taurus taxable income. So to find the taxable income, they need to subtract deduction here, itemized deduction from the adjusted gross income, which is going to be, let's do that. So this is the adjusted gross income 156,100. You subtract itemized deduction 24,800. Let's see, 24,800. They'll get 131,300. That's the total taxable income. So taxable income is going to be 131,300. That's the taxable income. So now next question is compute the Taurus tax O, round to the nearest cent. So this is kind of longer. So again, you have a couple of steps to find the Taurus tax, how much they own. There is a way to do it. I'm going to show you now. So notice that 131,300 is taxable income. Let's see where this belongs to. This belongs to in this row here, between 80,250 to $171,050. That means the couple, Taurus couple, is in 22% tax bracket. So they are paying 10% and 12% and 22% of their taxable income, $131,300. So how much they're going to pay that? So since we're looking for this last column here, after 19,750 they pay 10%. So I'm going to do $19,750 off 10% is 0.10 as a decimal. So this is $1,975 they pay by 10%. For 12% they pay between 80,250 and 19,750. How do you find that? So you subtract $80,250 minus $19,750. This is $60,500. So this applies to 12%. So you multiply this number 60,500 by 0.12 0.12, you get $7,260 from 12%. Now they also need to pay 22% tax as well. Notice that here is their taxable income. So to find how much for 22%, you subtract the taxable income and this lower limit of this 22% tax bracket. Let's see how much you get. $131,300, that's the taxable income, we found it before, minus this is 80,250. okay, 80,250, you get $51,050. That amount applies to 22% tax bracket. So you multiply this amount, which is $51,050, by 0.22. So you get $11,231 by 22%. So you have three numbers here, 10 with the 10%, with the 12%, and 22%. These three numbers has to be added to find how much tax they owe before the tax credit. So I'm adding 1975 with the 10% plus 7260 with 12% plus $11,231 with 22%. So that's the total tax so far. But notice that they have a child credit as well, which is $2,000 child tax credit, and for they have 3 children, so altogether tax credit is going to be $6,000. You got to subtract that to find how much this tax they owe. $6,000. So the tax they owe going to be $14,466. That's the tax they owe. Okay, they need to pay this much taxes to the government. That's what it did. But notice that the next line here, suppose their combined W2 says that the Taurus paid $14,626 in taxes in 2020. In other words, from their paycheck, this much taxes, $14,628 is already deducted from their paycheck. That shows up in W2. That's called tax withheld. So but they're supposed to pay $14,466. That's the tax they owe, but they already paid $14,628. Is slightly more than they owe. So they get some refund. So the answer is, are the tourists due a refund, or do they own the decide they got refund? So the answer is refund due. So next part of the question is how much they due for refund. Since they already pay more, and then the difference is going to be refund, so it's going to be $162. So usually they got $160 tax back from the IRS. Okay, thank you.